Welcome back to enLIGHTenUP for episode 40, CBD, Misperceptions, and Healing Stories with Jack Studebaker. A few episodes ago, we were talking about some alternative healing options that are outside of Big Pharma, and we decided to bring Jack Studebaker in, who is the founder of Saving Grace Oil here in Colorado, to bring some more awareness to the audience on the properties of the hemp plant and why CBD is starting to grow in popularity in the alternative health community. We're going to talk more about the logistics of the plant as well as why our body is such a good receptor for it. And then later on, we're going to talk about the demonization of the hemp plant and why the government wasn't too fond of hemp being such a staple crop as it used to be. And then later in the show, we're going to talk about some of the healing stories that Jack has had firsthand from people using his product and why finding alternative methods is so beneficial to helping people get off of pharmaceutical drugs and improving the quality of lifestyle. So let's jump right into the episode and hear what Jack had to say. Welcome back to enLIGHTenUP, everyone. Great to have you back here. We have a really fun show for you, and I'm here with Michael, Lisa, and Brian, and we have a great guest joining us. But before we start the show, I wanted to say thank you to our audience because you guys are really sharing the love, and our audience is growing and growing, and we're just so happy for you all to be part of this journey with us and that we get to be part of your journey. And if you know anyone who is awakening to the spiritual journey out there and you think that they might like the show, even if they're skeptics, that's why we have the skeptics on the show, so that, everyone can relate to some voice here and have an understanding of where they may fit in the puzzle, then please share our podcast with your friends, family, coworkers. If you like what we're saying, then can you please leave us a review on iTunes, because that helps people find us easier and allows us to kind of stick out from the crowd. So thanks again to all of you because we're just super excited for the show. And today we are joined by Jack Studebaker. Jack, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great for you to be on the show. So a couple episodes ago, we were talking about the alternative health benefits versus the Big Pharma. And one of the topics that came up, Brian was talking about CBD. And we understand that you deal a lot with CBD.
We do deal a lot with CBD, yes.
So how did you get into it?
For me personally, it was looking for a quality product for my dad who had back surgery about 3 years ago. And everything I found online was either imported hemp paste from overseas, extremely expensive, and had very little actual CBD content. So since this great state of Colorado has embraced our cannabis laws here, I've got a lot of contacts in the industry, a lot of friends in the industry. So I sat down with one of my close friends, Drew Madison, and told him my frustrations with finding a high quality product. And his goal was to really help the seizure community. So we decided to, with his vast expertise and knowledge in the industry, decided to start our own company. So we have a farm out here in Colorado that we grow on. So we have 140 acres at the moment that we grow our own hemp. Our farmer, Chris, is a close friend of Drew's of 20 plus years. He's a third generation farmer, grows incredible hemp. So, we decided to, just take it on ourselves. So we focus on producing a high quality product at a very fair and reasonable price.
I would assume a lot of our listeners don't have a problem with marijuana. And in fact, one of the people that wrote in, mentioned that they were, smokers. But when I became interested in hemp and CBD, it was because it's not marijuana. And I think that's a really important distinction that a lot of regular people don't understand the difference, that hemp is not marijuana. And in fact, Lisa and I bought the domain www.hempisnotmarijuana.com because I wanted to use it as a way to help educate people that these things, while they are related and it is the same genus of plant, species of plant, it's not the same. And can you tell us why it's not the same?
I mean, the only thing that really differentiates the two is the THC content. But over the years, people have bred out CBD and focused on creating a higher THC content
For marijuana.
For marijuana.
THC is in marijuana.
Yeah,
That's what gets you high.
that's what gets you high. Correct. So now that we understand more of the healing properties of the plant, CBD and CBN and CBC is being bred back into the plant. So hemp is a excellent source of CBD, low in THC. So in order for us to be legal, we have to be below 0.3%.
Mm-hmm.
So our farm is registered with the state of Colorado. So they actually come out and they'll test our crop. If it's above 0.3%, they destroy your crop. So it's very important that we keep an eye on that.
But most hemp is naturally below that threshold anyway.
Most hemp is, but it depends on when you harvest it. So there's a little bit of work that goes into it. A lot of companies will, other CBD companies out there will import hemp paste from overseas. So it'll say on there derived from stalk and seed. There's very little CBD in the stalk, and there isn't any in the seed. So what you'll find is they have to use a lot of material and along with a lot of solvents to try to extract what little CBD is in the stalk.
But more than likely, those manufacturers, those foreign manufacturers that are doing it that way, they're not growing their hemp for medical reasons, because there's even within hemp, there's two types of hemp. There's medical hemp and
industrial hemp.
Industrial hemp, which is almost like bamboo. It's 14, 15 feet tall, and it's used for clothing and rope and paper.
Thousands of uses. Yeah, I mean it's
what are like the healing properties of CBD? Like, why did you? Because you said it was for your dad's back.
Correct. Yeah. So I think to best understand that, we look at what's called the endocannabinoid system. So in every mammal, there's an endocannabinoid system. So there are receptors throughout our bodies, in our cells, in our brains, in our guts, everywhere that have cannabinoid receptors. So we get cannabinoids from things like black pepper, dark chocolate, kale. So phytocannabinoids. Our bodies also make its own form of cannabinoid called anandamide. So our bodies were designed for that. So when we have a cannabinoid deficiency, comes disease. So the idea is to get your body in balance. So to create that homeostasis, that balance. So hemp is an incredible source of cannabinoids, not just CBD, but several other cannabinoids. But it's CBD is probably the major cannabinoid in that.
Okay. So just so I'm clear, so the cannabinoids help bring in homeostasis in the body?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So when the body's in balance, everything
absolutely.
just,
that's the
runs
whole
better.
mark of disease. Disease is when the body's out of balance. Yeah. Okay.
So that kind of simplifies. So on our website, we have under the science tab is a link to like endocannabinoid 101. So it kind of gives you the basic idea of what that's about. Once you understand the endocannabinoid system and how our bodies were designed for it, then everything else falls into place. Because a lot of people ask me, well, does it work for depression? Does it work for seizures? There's so many ailments and conditions that this incredible plant can help. So it almost seems, like snake oil or
so let's
panacea
talk about
of sorts.
that.
Yeah.
So why would hemp get such a bad rep? Like, what was the story? What's the story behind hemp?
Well, I mean, it starts way back. Basically, I personally, for me, big pharma. There isn't any profits in cures. So for people that can be able to grow this plant in their backyard and essentially be able to, maintain health and well-being without having to rely on pharmaceuticals. So it was demonized, way back when the 20s.
The 20s.
Yeah. And also because hemp is an excellent source for paper. Way better than wood, also better than cotton. So all these industries, plastic industry, the paper industry, all these industries that don't want this incredible plant. And now hemp was widely, farmed here in the United States, way back.
It was a staple crop.
It was.
And it
was required.
Thomas Jefferson grew hemp
George Washington
primarily.
Yeah.
So when did it go?
When did everything go sideways for hemp? Like, what was the defining moment where...
Unfortunately, this is also one of the reasons why I think people lump it with marijuana, because I think it was a perfect storm. There was, we're heading towards prohibition, and we're in prohibition in America, and there's this plant that is smoked and people get high, and that was marijuana. And actually, it dates back to such a time that it's spelled differently than we spell marijuana today. If you look at the original, law, in the books in the U.S. law, I forget how they spell it, but
that was something new that they put in there.
Right. But so they were getting ready to outlaw marijuana, and then this is probably where you start looking at big pharma, or the beginning of big pharma and big cotton and rubber and all these things, and they said, well, it technically is the same species of plant or genus. I forget. I should know this as a landscape architect, but oh well. So they lumped it together, and when they Schedule 1 marijuana, Schedule 1 with the DEA, means it's a federal offense to
no medical benefits.
Right.
Yeah.
So they did the same thing with hemp, and it just got lumped in with marijuana, and they are vastly different plants.
Well, you'd have to imagine that it was no accident.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't just an accident that got lumped in.
Yeah,
so
the
why?
cotton industry, the plastics, paper industry, just like we've talked about so many times on our podcast.
If you look back, cannabis was used in medicines for a very long time. And so when they started to outlaw marijuana, like you said, they lumped in cannabis, and the medical community, or lumped in hemp. Mm-hmm. So the medical community was outraged about it, because it's such an excellent source of medicine that has zero side effects to it. Mm-hmm. So it was deliberate,
okay.
And still to this day, even though we have so much research and anecdotal stories and that how effective this plant is for someone's health, but our government still sees it. The people in control will say that no, there is no medical benefit because we don't have actual, data. Well, we can't research it because it's a Schedule 1 narcotic.
Yeah, exactly. So that compounds the problem. So now there's a lot of information coming out about the benefits of CBD.
Yeah, the limitations were put in place,
but
for a
it
reason.
cannot be studied.
Yeah, Michael. I know you're a fan of. I know you're a fan of marijuana.
God,
you moved to Colorado.
I like to have a doobie once a year. No big deal.
Once a year, did he say?
There's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it, and I live in a state where it's illegal. So only when you
visit us. Only when you visit us. Don't worry. We'll make sure that caveat's in there. What are your thoughts on CBD and all that?
This is all just fortunately I knew all this because I had my brother's a pharmacist, so I remember having to deal with arguments and stuff like that about marijuana versus, well, I hate to say it, marijuana and hemp versus pharmaceutical drugs. I think it's really sickening to see what this government does and gets away with. However, I have a feeling that, I think Canada just legalized it, and when other countries legalize it, America's going to have to play catch up. And I think that we'll have to see a lot more of okay, let's not call it a Schedule 1 or narcotic or whatever. Let's open it up because we want to compete globally. And
America
so I'm happy to see this kind of change throughout the entire world. And I think the big problem is, does the hemp leaf and the marijuana leaf look exactly the same?
Identical.
So I think that's a big problem. If you're saying it's a completely different plant, but they look exactly the same. So I think that's why it's easy for the typical population to get confused between these two. Then you go into stores that sell marijuana and they have hemp products everywhere. So it's a lot of the marketing is actually going against them if you're a pro hemp person but not caring about the marijuana part of it.
That is such an awesome point, because when I moved back to America from China a year ago, I came back to start a hemp company, And that's what I realized, and that's actually why how I found Jack and reached out to Jack originally, because I wanted to start a different type of hemp company, because that's exactly what I saw. I saw that if you're a hemp company, you look like a marijuana company, and that it kind of made the problem that much more pervasive, because people didn't understand it, and I wanted to find a way to make products that were mainstream, that would be in, like a Safeway or a Target. So my mom would go and just grab a hemp product off the shelf and have the benefits of CBD without feeling like it's this marijuana related product.
Yeah, because your mom and your aunt, your grandma, and people who are older maybe that need these products more than say some of the younger people have to go to, like Michael said, the only place you get these is, I guess not the only place, because you can go to saveandgraceoil.com and you can get Jack's products. But mainly you're going into these medical marijuana type places to buy these hemp products.
And to be honest with you, hemp products don't sell that well at dispensaries. They don't. No, they don't want them. So everything's online for the most part. Our whole industry is online. There's some brick and mortar stores. There's more stores starting to carry CBD products. Unfortunately, there's a lot of crappy CBD products out there.
More crappy than good products.
Absolutely.
Way more crappy.
I actually wanted you to talk about that a little bit, because you've given some great examples and conversations we've had. Just for like Charlotte's Web, for example. I know that Charlotte's Web really kind of brought it to the forefront of everyone's mind with seizures. And can you just talk a little bit about?
Yeah, but it's not a great product, even though they helped open the door.
Yeah, I mean, CBD. There's the handful of companies out there that I have respect for that actually do things the correct way. Obviously Charlotte's Web has paved the way, for this industry. So I've got nothing but respect for those guys. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of companies. I was on the phone with someone yesterday, and they had me look up a company online, and all this company did was use CBD isolate. So that's where they actually isolate the CBD compound, and that's all it is. So they'll say, they'll brag about it. It's 99.6% pure CBD. Well, it's you want those other cannabinoids working synergistically together. So the body doesn't want just the CBD. It's tougher for the body to metabolize that as well. So what you want to look for is whole plant, whole plant extract, not an isolate. Mm-hmm. So that's what you want to stay away from. The other thing is what we educate people on our website under the value tab is we talk about how to shop for pricing. So I had a gentleman call me the other day from Florida, actually, and says, hey, I'm getting ready to buy one of your products. Your product is, over $100. I bought a 2-ounce bottle of CBD, and it was, I want to say it was a 1-ounce bottle, and it was $28. And I said, well, what's the CBD content? So he sent me a picture of it. Well, it was 60 milligrams of CBD in that bottle. So you do the math on it. It was 47 cents a milligram. Ours averages about 8 cents a milligram. So, but we put a lot of CBD in our products. Mm-hmm. So ours will range anywhere from 330 milligrams up to 5,280 milligrams. So the biggest thing to do is look at the cost per milligram, where it's being sourced from, what parts are being used. We talked about the stalk and seed. Mm-hmm. So it's just things you need to be. That's what we constantly educate people on.
Okay.
And then once they understand that and they actually feel the difference between, because that product he had was, first ingredient was vegetable glycerin. Next ingredient was artificial flavor, grape flavor. And then it was CBD. So it's so important to know what you're putting in your body.
I had an experience recently. I had like a nutritional panel done for, vitamins in my blood. And I was told I'm like completely deficient in B6 and like some other things. And I've been taking B complex vitamins for a long time, and some other things that also were found deficient in my blood that I've been taking a vitamin for. And it really made me realize, and I thought I was being careful buying, vitamins online or even in the stores, but there's just such little things that you have to look for, to know really whether you're getting something that is going to be absorbed into your system. So, when you were saying.
She came home from the doctor that day and literally she was just dumping hundreds and hundreds of vitamins in the trash can because you're like,
The doctor's like,
I've been taking a B vitamin every day for 20 years and I have 0 B in my blood. So obviously these are crappy vitamins.
Yeah. So we talk about the bioavailability of taking
really
the bloodstream. Yeah. When we first started our company, we looked at a liposomal product. And the thing about it was, and it was with a very reputable doctor here in Colorado who specializes in liposomes. So we were very confident that this product was going to be it. So we drank the Kool-Aid on the whole liposomal thing. We gave out a bunch of bottles to friends and people that needed it, and we didn't get one reorder or one person calling saying, wow, that's amazing, the effects of it. So we would call people, hey, what was your thoughts on that? And they're like, yeah, it was good, it was nice. And I'm like, well, be honest with me. They're like, didn't feel a thing. So when we formulated our current product line, we got nothing but reorders. So right now we're over 40% retention. So it's an effective medicine. So I understand the concept behind liposomes. If it's a smaller particle, the uptake into the bloodstream, breaking the blood-brain barrier, all these things.
It works really well for vitamin C.
It may be so.
It does.
But the thing about it is you can only get so much CBD in it. So it was like maybe 7 milligrams per milliliter. But then they say, well, you times that by 10, and now it's 70. But I just haven't really seen the hard data on that, and I just haven't seen a very effective response to people with liposomes.
Well, I wanted to ask you if you could share some health stories where people had dramatic results from using CBD in their health.
I think we should start with your dad, though. Did it work?
My dad, unfortunately, he just went back in for another surgery last week, and they opened him up and realized that first surgery didn't take. So, but yes, it was effective for him. So we have a pain salve as well, and that's what he liked a lot. So a topical, he would just rub on his back, and that was very effective for him. He also uses more of a local blend. It's got some THC in it. So microdosing with THC, because he's got a little bit of dementia starting. So microdosing with THC tends to keep that at bay. It's not reversing it, but it's not getting worse. Mm-hmm. So obviously when I started this company, both sets of parents were like, you're going to go to jail, But now that they understand, my mom uses it for her arthritis, my dad uses it for his back, but to share some stories, we've got people with seizures, with epilepsy. We have one gal here in town that she uses it. She has got toxic mold syndrome and Lyme's disease.
Oh, wow.
And it's been one of the most effective medicines she's been dealing with this for 18 years.
Lyme disease is one of those things that most people can't ever, it's a really big battle.
It is, yeah. So for her, it's what helps her be able to, get up out of bed, to be able to walk. CBD is an incredible anti-inflammatory. So with inflammation, comes pain. So it's been highly effective for her. And then we've got another family in Georgia. I don't remember the name of the. Basically, it's where your joints start to fuse together. I know the abbreviation is AS. I'm not even trying to pronounce it, but
ankylosing spondylitis.
That's it.
Nice. Wow, good job.
That's my massage education coming in.
So she had been trying to figure out what her issue was. So she sent. I've got pictures of kind of before and after. So it took them, her doctors, about 2 years to diagnose what this is. So before that, she was a fitness instructor, hunting, skydiving, scuba diving, just very, very active. 2 young kids. One of them's a special needs child. Dogs. So basically, she needs to be active, and she wasn't. She couldn't barely walk because of the pain in her feet. She couldn't walk on on the bare floors. It got to the point. So doctors tried everything, painkillers, that didn't work. Nothing was working. So her doctor said one of the last things that they recommended was going to be chemotherapy. And she's like, for my feet, So that's when they started, looking alternatively. So through a friend of a friend, we ended up getting contacted. So she sent me pictures, and I have them. I'll show them to you. but 30 days later, her foot was back to normal. So in fact, her husband and I talk, I would say 3-4 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're friends. They actually flew out to Colorado. They called up and said, you know, we've had such a profound effect. Your products had such a profound effect on our family. We want to fly out and meet you. So they flew out and toured our farm, and you know, we kind of showed them around Colorado. So
awesome.
yeah.
What does it feel like to see such an impact that your product's making on people's lives? So it's not just the physical health. It affects the mental health, the emotional health, the relationships of those people. If it's a family thing, you know, because everyone's going through it.
Absolutely.
How does that impact you when you see that?
I can't even describe it. I got goosebumps right now. I mean, that is why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
It was never about the money. Obviously, that will come with it. But you know, quite honestly, we've taken every dime and put it back into the company. So it's all about helping people. And these stories that people, I mean, I get text messages every day from people and emails just about the profound effect that this has had on them and their family. I had a person recently call up. Their daughter was 2.5 years old, has never slept through the night. So up about, you know, between 4 and 7 times a night. So obviously
Seizures?
No, just can't sleep.
Oh.
Yeah. And so obviously if she's not, nobody's sleeping, you know, in and out of parents' room, they're putting her down, coming back. So, and she's like, I tried everything, different, you know, essential oils and massages and chiropractor. I mean, to do everything. And, we're getting ready to release a 0 THC line, even though our product is below 0.3%, you know, some people who want 0 THC.
For children especially.
Yeah, so her concern was the THC. So I actually had a formulated bottle sitting on our shelf at the lab. So I sent her a half bottle. Just try it, you know. And first night, slept through the night.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, so she's just like, thank you so much.
You know, one of the stories that you've told Lisa and I in the past that I just think is so incredible, and it's because you had somebody call you that was using another product, and they were getting results from that other product, and it was a child with seizures. But then when they tried your product, it just shows you when you use something that's a really good product, it was even better. Can you share that?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly which. I mean,
she was using Charlotte's Web.
Okay,
a kid with seizures.
Yeah. So this is a family down in. I mean, it's kind of a long drawn out story, but I'll. So she in her support group in Texas, someone had suggested Saving Grace. So she put an order in for us for our daily, which is 11 milligrams per milliliter. We accidentally sent her our canine formula, which at that time was, you know, you could take it. It was the human grade. But, you know, so she sent an email to us and expressed her disappointment, the fact that she got the wrong bottle. But after talking to her, I found out that she was using this for her daughter who has seizures. So she was giving her daughter, I believe the product she was using from CW was 10 milligrams per milliliter. And she was giving her 3 milliliters, 3 droppers full 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a lot. Actually.
Which is a lot, and especially a lot at one time, and the body's not going to absorb that. You know, it's just a lot of carrier oil. So
what was the baseline seizures for the child before any?
She was having even on,
but before CW, she was having.
I mean
30
plus.
plus.
I don't think she got into that. We were more talking about because she was even on CW, she was getting, you know, about 3 seizures a day. Is what it was. And then, you know, so they started taking the canine formula before we can get her the one that she really needed. And she sent me a message saying it's unbelievable the difference. You know, she's not having any seizures during the day. So I think last month she had, you know, a handful, I think is how she described it. So all month long. The other thing is her daughter's in a wheelchair, and so her feet are
pronated.
Yeah, so, you know, it's real tense, body's real tense. So she usually get about 20-degree movement.
Mm-hmm.
With our product, she was, you know, 70-degree motion. She was more relaxed. She could just tell a difference. Now her daughter doesn't communicate. She's, you know, feeding tube in a wheelchair. But you know, she sent me an email last week and just said that the changes are unbelievable. And her doctor was like, I'm gonna recommend, you know, Saving Grace to everyone that qualifies for CBD
okay.
in Texas. So, it's stories like that just come in all the
I
time.
think, and the amazing part about you is that you take these phone calls. So people call and he's on the phone with them for 2 hours or sending emails, and it's just like the heart that you put
actually,
into this
okay,
business.
so this is a great segue into another topic that I'd like to talk about, because you're doing something that is service to others. You're not doing this for the money, although you need to support yourself, right? We all want to live comfortably. We all want to live well. We all deserve to live well. But that's not your motivating factor.
And in fact, this is currently a side job for Jack.
Yeah. So what I'd like to talk about right now is when we start to, we're going to get a little spiritual right now. So when we start to move more into a loving place and we start to raise what we call our vibrations or frequency, it's that you're moving out of the lower egoic kind of motivations. So fear, anger, lust, desire, those kind of things. And you're moving into higher frequencies, which are willingness, joy, love, those kind of things. You realize that as you move into that in your life, because I've experienced this, that your joy really does come from helping others. And we think when we're younger, and society programs us to believe that our joy is going to come from being really successful, by making a lot of money, by getting societal status, by getting some high-paying job, or being part of an industry that maybe is coveted from an ego place. But really, like, the joy that comes from helping others is something that no one can ever take away from you. So regardless if you weren't making money or you were making money, the joy is always still there.
Sure.
So can you elaborate a little bit more on how that's kind of changed you through this, like the business, like from where you were before you started and where you are now in that kind of?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's always been our goal. Was to provide a quality product.
Yeah.
I can't say that I thought we would get the type of response that we do get, but it makes our focus more about the people, and helping people versus trying to maximize profits, which so many of these CBD companies out there, that's what their focus is. They'll buy cheaper material, just to save some money. That's never been our focus. So, I mean, we will always continue to put, the highest quality products into our product, because that's what has the best results.
But take business aside.
Okay.
You as a person.
Personally. For me, what it's done for my daughters. So I've got 2 daughters, 7 and 9. I share the stories with them. So and for them, it's always been legal. It's always been medicine. So when they see, a hemp leaf, to them, it's medicine. So they have such a desire to be involved in our business, and they're teachers at school. And they should call my dad. He's got CBD. It would help you. So I think mostly, just creating a better sense of just well-being. I mean, it just helps me. I don't know. It's difficult to say exactly the effect that's had on me, but I just see what it does, for my own family.
Yeah.
And for other families. I mean, how can you not want more?
And clearly you were already at a place before you even started this that you're that type of person. You obviously have a big heart and you get joy out of helping people.
Absolutely, so it
was your goal from the beginning.
Correct, yeah. So that's a good point. I mean, I was never a greedy person. So I've always been, probably a little too nice. Yeah. But
unless it's at the expense of yourself.
Right. So, I mean, I look forward to seeing, what else we can do as we continue to grow our business and help more people. And that's really how we look at it. How many more people can we help, get into the hands?
There's something else I wanted you to talk about, which blew my mind, was this, the keef and these pills and its effect on cancer, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So So obviously, cancer affects everybody. I've lost a lot of family members to cancer, and I was connected with a gentleman here in Colorado that has a product that he makes, and it's made from the trichomes, which we call keef. So you'll get that from the dry material. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Rick Simpson oil. Rick Simpson oil, basically, you take,
I have.
Yeah, you take a pound of material of marijuana, soak it in alcohol, boil off the alcohol, and then you have this black tarry substance that's left over. It's extremely psychoactive. The THC content goes through the roof when you do that process.
That's the Rick Simpson oil.
That's the Rick Simpson oil. So you start off with a half a grain of rice, and you work yourself up to a gram. So the THC is important in killing cancer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but with this product that my associate puts together, it's not psychoactive because the THC is in its acid form, so it's THCA. So when you heat up marijuana, so when you smoke it or something like that, you're turning it from THCA to THC, and that's what's psychoactive.
Interesting.
Yeah. So his process is to take keef, and he capsules that, but he's got a process where he uses dry ice and different size sleeves and maximizes the getting the trichomes off of the plant material. But I've seen some amazing things. I've got a friend whose dad was stage 4 colon cancer, and he's doing extremely well. We had another customer contact here in Colorado. She had an inoperable brain tumor. She was taking it, and that's shrunk down considerably. So, to say that that's the product that is curing cancer, I can't go that far, but you can't deny when you see these changes. We had a woman in I think it was Washington State that was connected with us, and she had stage 4 lung cancer. Never smoked a day in her life. All organic, no processed foods, and that's always how it is, So John won't ship this over state lines. So she, being in Washington State, she can grow it herself. She grew her own medicine, and her cancer's down by like 90%.
Oh wow!
So, and it's just by using this.
An equally impressive part of the story about John is that he's similar-minded to you, and he does this for free.
He doesn't charge anybody. So the only thing he asks is for donations of material, of plant material, so he can make this medicine. And he's never turned down anybody that we've brought to him. So, and there's some people that I'm shocked, when you have such a profound effect on their health, and then they're just not very grateful. But
well, you had mentioned there was the gentleman that had prostate cancer, and he was getting chemo, and you told me something about the numbers, like
the PSA.
His PSA numbers. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember exactly. I think his PSA numbers were 21, and then he started with these keef tablets or capsules, and it came down to 14. Now it's down to 7. So on PSA scores, if they come down a half a point, that's really
through
good.
Traditional methods, chemo or whatever.
So he's stopped doing chemo. I mean, that's one thing he felt. Anytime he would start his chemo up again, his health would just degrade. Okay. So finally he said, you know what, I don't want to do the chemo anymore, and it's been highly effective.
So if anyone in our audience is listening and they maybe themselves are experiencing cancer, or they have a close family member or friend, if this is an avenue that they might be willing to explore, do they get in contact with you?
I would just say do some research online. I mean, there's plenty of I can't take on the masses,
okay,
in that regard, but do your research on it, and you'll find your way to doing that, because again, we can't ship it over state lines because of the THC. We're not registered with the state, so this is really
fringe,
underground, if you will. But again,
I like underground.
Don't call the state of Colorado. But it's just, this plant ceases to amaze me every day. So I mean, that's the biggest thing I could say, is just really research it and understand the healing properties of this plant, and it's real.
Michael, do you have any experience or know someone who's used CBD and had a health issue?
No. It's besides me. I tried to use, and the more that you talk about it, the more I probably got not such a good grade. But my friend owns a few marijuana stores back in the state of Washington, and he hooked me up when I was back there visiting my family. These CBD capsules that has like 1,000 milligrams of CBD or whatever it said, and because I can't sleep, I have very bad sleep, and I use it and it had zero effect on me. So I'm like, and so I get into, just like you said it earlier, I got into this statement. I was like, this shit doesn't do anything.
Right.
And that was it. And so I kind of like just wrote off, unfortunately, I wrote off CBD completely at that time. So there is a lot of marketing issues, unfortunately. And so I'm glad that you're on the show today just talking about those things.
Well, let's get you some real product, and you can report back and see if it works. And
I would love that, yeah.
and I'm even working on a an over the shelf type of like I said earlier, I had this idea to make products for the store shelf, and actually Jack showed up today and he gave me some samples of something for me to develop this product more fully. We'll send you some of that. I'll send you some of that.
What's the website? You said Saving Grace?
SavingGraceOil.com.
Oh, okay, because I'm not wanting to adopt a dog here.
When I first, or after I met Jack and Drew, I think you guys gave me a bottle of CBD oil, and it was to see if it would help my back. And the first night I took it, I slept 11 hours solid without moving. It was fantastic. So it absolutely does help you sleep. If you have the right amount.
Yeah, sleep is probably one of the things that we run into the most. I mean, depression. I have trouble sleeping, anxiety. Yeah, definitely anxiety. And we find that lower doses of CBD help with anxiety. But yeah, I can't sleep a lot, from people, and it's been very effective for them.
What's the main product that you recommend for people that can't sleep? Because what you'll notice when you go to Jack's website is it's broken down into basically the concentration of CBD. You've got one called Daily that starts at 11, and then the K9 is 22, and that is human grade. So if you want the 22, you can order the K9, and then
it starts off at 11. We actually changed our K9 formula.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not human grade anymore.
Well, I mean, you could take it, but it's chicken flavored.
Oh.
But we have an 11 milligram per milliliter, which is our daily, and we have our wellness, which is 33 milligrams per milliliter. Our recovery is 55 milligrams per milliliter, and then our advanced is 88 milligrams per milliliter. So, unfortunately, we can't get into too many details on, hey, this works for this ailment. If I talk to someone on the phone, yeah, that's different. But on our website, even though we're not, controlled by the FDA, we can't make these false claims.
Right.
I will never tell someone that, hey, take this product, it's going to cure cancer.
Right.
But you take our product in conjunction with traditional treatment, it's going to help drastically with the side effects from chemotherapy and radiation, and those long-term effects with neuropathy and things like that. So obviously the more severe your ailments are, the more CBD you need.
And the more severe your ailments are, you also may want to add THC to that as well.
If you live in a state where you can purchase THC products, yeah, absolutely. I mean, THC is not a bad cannabinoid.
They do work
synergistically. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, they call CBD is a promiscuous cannabinoid because it doesn't bind to any of the receptors. So where THC actually binds to a receptor, that's where you get that psychoactive feeling. So CBD will actually counteract THC. So it'll come in and knock off that THC off that receptor. So there's so much to it. And then we get into different terpenes. Different terpenes have different effects. With someone's sleep or depression. PTSD is done amazing things for PTSD. So we had a gal in Virginia that she was taking it for her arthritis, and calls me up. She's like, okay, well, it worked great on my arthritis. But I've been suffering from PTSD since college, and she's retired now. And she's like, it's completely reversed my PTSD. So
you know what? You bring up something that kind of pisses me off too about the U.S. right now, is because I know a few fellows of mine that suffer dramatically from PTSD, and they need to get high just to control it, and at least that's what they say. And so you can't like, it's not like you're gonna go around the corner and find someone who's slinging the hemp oil. I mean, you can. It's
Well,
easy.
but that is
It's actually
something
pretty
that
easy to find marijuana where I live versus the more healing substance that you're talking about, and that's what kind of like irritates me. That you can't even like sell it across. Can you sell this across the line?
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
So
Okay.
they can go online and order this from Jack and get it sent to them, and they don't have to get high.
Okay, so that makes sense.
It's the
You
THC.
said earlier, maybe that was just like something else you were talking
Yeah,
about.
it was those keef
Oh,
capsules.
the keef. Okay.
Yeah. But no, our product we can ship to all 50 states. In fact, on our website, it's get healed, not high. So
I see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just saw that.
so I mean, we try to, and as you can tell from our website, it doesn't have CBD listed all over it. So we don't, and that's to kind of work with the FDA guidelines. So we'll talk about phytocannabinoids and hemp extract. So and the other thing is some big box stores are wanting to have this product available on their shelves, but they can't have it with CBD written all over it. So all of our bottles don't say CBD. It'll say
Now,
hemp extract.
so you actually got physical stores or brick and mortar stores, or is it online only?
Well, I mean, we sell it online only, but there are some some people who will more or less wholesale it. So we get a lot of acupuncturists and massage therapists.
Right, because I actually have a lot of medical spas here in Florida that carry CBD stuff. So I'll be more than happy to share if you do the wholesale things. I'll be more than happy to share that with them.
Yeah. And once and I love doing comparisons, so people will send me, here's what I've been taking, how does this compare to your product? And I'm very realistic. If there's
All right, next week I'm going to send you something that this one store I have in mind because I'll be visiting them, so I'm very curious myself.
Yeah, no, I love doing that, and that's what I did for that one gal whose daughter has seizures, and I did a comparison of what she's been using. And actually, you can drop how much you're giving her at one time. So no, I love doing that.
Okay.
One of the things that excites me about CBD so much is getting people off pharmaceuticals. And I feel like, in my family alone, like just immediate family, the number of people that have anxiety issues that are on, I think it's Prozac. Is that the one now that everyone takes for depression and anxiety?
Zoloft.
Yeah, Zoloft, Prozac, those type of things. And CBD, like one of my nieces, she has a scholarship, to school, a sports scholarship, and she has anxiety issues. So she's just ordered her mother just ordered your product to help her with their anxiety. But the nice thing is that she can take it. It won't show up on any drug testing that she may have to do for school. So I think that that's an important point too. And just anybody who's taking some of these pharmaceuticals like Zoloft and Prozac that are so scary to me, could try this and see if they could get off of the pharmaceuticals or, someone that you know and love.
Yeah, that brings up a good point. We deal with a lot of people that are opioid, addiction recovery. And I've got one in particular. He buys a lot of product from us. But his story it's unbelievable what these opioids have done to his life and completely destroyed it. And it was from a back surgery, and his doctors were giving him buckets of these things. And, he kept taking them. And 10 years later, here he is. And, he was saying, I wouldn't be able to get through these withdrawal symptoms if it wasn't for your product. So that alone right there, addiction recovery, step down, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, getting off of the pharmaceuticals for something for every time, hey, I'm feeling blue. Oh, great! Here's a script for.
But they never use the word heroin. Like you never hear heroin associated with opioids. It's not like something that is said. So it's I feel like it's the same with CBD. Like marijuana doesn't need to be associated with it.
Right. And quite honestly, marijuana is not bad. It's been demonized. Yeah.
The devil's lettuce.
The devil's lettuce. It is. But I've been smoking pot for 30 years. So I'm fine. Relatively, yeah.
As far as
But right, exactly. So I mean, it stems for me. I've always considered it self-medication. It's never. I've never been sitting on the couch playing video games all day. I use it at the end of the day, and that's my way of winding down and processing my day and getting ready for the next day. So.
Do you dream?
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of marijuana users report they don't dream when they're using, like smoking.
Yeah. No, I vivid dreams. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you remember your dream?
I remember my dreams.
But he also uses CBD, and I wonder if that's.
I've never had a problem dreaming, and remembering. I mean, I won't remember.
I don't think I've had a problem from the 1 or 2 times in my life where I smoked as well.
Yeah, those 1 or 2 times are really easy to remember, aren't they, Michael?
Yeah, it's the alcohol where I just don't remember.
Yeah, alcohol. Alcohol. I love to drink some beers, but alcohol. I sleep horrible. I mean, that's what I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and I also like to add. I mean, it works on animals as well. So we have a canine line, and that's probably one of our biggest sellers. And so, and that could be anything from again, age-related aches and pains in dogs, to seizures. So a lot of the medication for dogs on seizures just destroys them, and this has 0 side effects to it. So.
Yeah, instead of reaching for some sleep aid at the at the pharmacy, try CBD. It's natural.
And what you'll find, it doesn't necessarily make you sleepy. Meaning,
it doesn't make you sleepy. It just makes you sleep solidly. You just sleep like a rock.
Yeah, your body's in balance, so everything just working the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, it's not like it's making you you can't take it. You could take it a few hours before you go to bed, but when you do go to bed, you'll sleep.
Yeah,
sound.
You tend to. Yeah. Can I offer a coupon code to listeners?
Yeah, of course, please do.
What would you like the coupon code to be?
Oh, we get to choose?
You can choose it, and I will create it as soon as we get done.
It has to be enLIGHTenUP, doesn't it?
Yeah, do that, or some variation of that.
Just enLIGHTenUP. And then
All right.
know anyone who used it.
Yeah, that would be a really easy way for you to track.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's listening, if you're interested in this, you can go to savinggraceoil.com and use the coupon code enLIGHTenUP.
For 20% off.
Wow.
Okay.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, and again, if anyone has questions, like you're saying, I'm always available. I love chatting about this stuff. So, and the opportunity to help people understand exactly, what it'll do and how to use it. But people have to be patient. You have to be consistent.
How long does an average bottle last with daily use?
And again, it comes down to how much you're using each dose. So when we send a bottle off to someone, depending upon their age and weight and things like that, we'll tell them to start with as little as a 1/4 milliliter twice a day. Mostly we tell people to start with a 1/2 milliliter twice a day. So a 30 ml bottle will last you 30 days.
Just getting people off pharmaceuticals just makes me.
No, I think that's
really
a
happy.
huge plus.
I
That's a
think
huge plus.
because they're the ones who have stopped. As we spoke about earlier in the podcast, to stop the legality. Have changed the legality of it from the beginning because they feel threatened. And that 1% of the population that owns everying, keeping people from this stuff that is good for them. That angers me.
Well, there was my wife Christy was on Flipboard, the other night and talks about this. Hey, all of a sudden they're starting to come out with these cures for cancer. And I swear to you, it's in direct correlation with the fact that we're getting so much movement on the cannabis side that now all of a sudden they're like, well, hold on, no, we've got a cure.
Right.
So I'll try to.
From what I understand, they've had cures for cancer forever, but they
They
there's
started
no money in that.
cancer,
There's
so
no
of course they have the cure for it.
Don't get out of hand.
That's true too, but there's no profit in that.
There's no profit in it. You can't patent a plant. So there are some companies, GW Pharmaceutical out of Europe, that has a CBD product that is being approved by the FDA, but it's an isolated compound. It's not whole plant extract. So But that's the way they can do it. So hey, we're gonna take the CBD molecule and then we're gonna add our other stuff to it. So, but we've had zero side effects. Even with medications, the worst thing that can happen to you is that it's not effective. So everybody responds differently to cannabinoid-based medicines, but there's never been a negative side effect to it.
Okay, everyone. Well, thanks so much for coming by, Jack, today, and thanks so much for offering our audience a coupon code. So anyone out there, if you're interested in some CBD oil, you can head on over to savinggraceoil.com, type in enLIGHTenUP into the coupon code area, and you're going to get 20% off. And if you love us so much, please head on over to iTunes and give us a rating. That's going to help us get a little higher in the search engine so that people can find us easier. And again, if you think that someone is going to be interested in our show, share it with them. We'd love for you to share the love. And if you need more information, please head on over to our website, enLIGHTenUP.us. And if you have questions for us or show topic ideas that you'd like us to address, please send that into our email, info@enlightenup.us. So thanks again, Jack, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's great having you.
Yes.
Thanks,
Look forward to
Jack.
it. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone. Bye.